All right.
How's it going?
Can we get rolling?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this. So today's topic, I'm going to cover a little bit of a subject that's a little bit personal with myself and a little touchy. But how many of us have felt being overwhelmed with their personal life and their professional life? A common theme with anybody in the room? Ever been overwhelmed, or you're overwhelmed now? And then a lot of us have probably felt that we're out of control, or we're not in control, or we're out of control. Is that a common feeling, and anybody experienced that before? Sometimes. And then a lot of us might have felt like we're stuck, like I just don't know where to start. I'm so overwhelmed, or things are just too much coming too fast, and we get a little stuck. We don't know where to get started. And a lot of times we get paralyzed or stuck, and we don't know how to break through. And so time management becomes an issue, implementation, execution becomes an issue. So today's topic is just my own thoughts on how I can help you guys if you're stuck to break through, how you can reduce the feelings of being so overwhelmed or out of control, and just lessons and principles that I've learned on how to break through and just get things started, or how to get things done, or how to balance and manage things. So I'm going to be raw and truthful and honest in my own personal life. So I have lots of experience of this. My own personal experience in 2004, I was 33 years old, and I was hooked up to an EKG machine and in a hospital bed. I thought I was having a heart attack. I was hooked up to machinery and equipment, and at that time had gained enough weight that I was almost 400 pounds. And my wife was there joining my side. And true story, while I'm hooked up to all this technology and all this machinery, she proceeded to say to me that I'm done. I'm taking our 3 kids. We're done. We're finished and over with. And I'm sitting there like, could we maybe wait until I stop EKG machine tests and talk about this later, kind of thing? But the reality was is that it was a rude awakening for me. And at that time, I'm going to be honest with you, I was doing incredibly well financially, but I was completely, brutally out of control, and had basically made a ton of money, thought things would be better for me in that, and realized that, 1 hour ago, I thought I was the most successful agent I knew in this trading area, and now I'm absolutely the most dysfunctional, dying, and getting divorced agent that I know, and it was a rude awakening and calling me. So that's how I know I can speak to this topic and do this, because I've been there. And so I wanted to share one principle, and that's Stephen Covey's principle that he talks about. We probably all heard about this, is the glass jar, and the rocks, the pebbles, the sand, and the water. And this was a great example of weight in 2004, where my rocks couldn't get into my jar because my priorities were all screwed up. And what was important and what was happening was complete chaos, and I was self-destructing and self-imploding. But I thought, if I just keep making more money, and that's one of the sad parts about this business is that you get people, hey, be just like me, and get up there and tell them that, and then behind the scenes, they're dying, they're getting divorced, and they're broke, and they're bankrupt and that. And so I'm being honest and raw with you that was my case, and that's where I've been. I'm going to tell you today I'm at about 235 pounds, proud to say, and I got it because I got a personal trainer, not because of anything else other than I have somebody to hold me accountable to that. And secondly, we've just celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary, Tina and I, and our kids and family, and that is happily going along in that. But it took that rude awakening call for me in 2004 to say, holy crap, Wade, you're completely imploding here and out of balance. So one thing I learned, though, is that we always think that we can get everything in, but we're getting in things in the wrong priority. So just quickly, what are each of these things? The water, you think of, Stephen says this jar can take more than what you think, and we can handle more. And the jar is an example of the amount of time you have and the energy you have. And you can either make it all fit, or you can make it not fit and implode and backfire on you. So the water is all the trivial time wasters. So I look at the water as a significance of surfing the internet, fake book, watching TV, Netflix, video gaming, texting, emails, things like that. the things that truly are not that important, but we tend to seem to put them in there. So we're putting the water in first, which is limiting our space inside of our jar. And then I look at the sand being things like vacations that we're putting on credit cards. Don't get me wrong, vacation is important, but when you're boring and driving yourself into financial demise to do that, it's probably not a good idea. Things like to-do lists and things like that, stuff that's somewhat important but not totally important, that seems to get into the mix as well before all of the other better stuff gets in the mix. So now the water and the sand are taking up my jar space, and the core stuff and the fundamental stuff is being left out. Then you look at the pebbles, and that's my personal life would be my family and friends. And how many of us have disowned our family and friends, and we're busy being busy, and we're disconnected now. We're disconnected with our spouses, where our finances are not in line. My spiritual life isn't in line. My happiness isn't in line. You know, the pebbles are now being left in, but they kind of get in there and somewhat get in there. And then I look at the rocks of my life, and my rocks were myself. And if you haven't read the book, there's a book by Og Mandino called The World's Greatest Miracle. And the world's greatest miracle is yourself. And if you don't believe that, and I didn't believe that, right? I was letting my self-destruction happen and implode in that because I wasn't taking care of myself. And then I wasn't taking care of my health. And I wasn't taking care of my relationships and my friendships and things like that. The big rocks were falling out of my jar. And I'm not proud of that fact, but I needed to realign my jar and get things back in. So I got myself back on point. I got my relationships, my friendships back on point. I got my finances back on point. I got my health back on point, and put the big rocks back in the jar first, right? So a huge lesson to be learned here, but just understanding the importance and understanding. So I'm going to challenge you guys to think about, what are the rocks in your life? What are the pebbles? What are the sand? And what are the water? And what's going into that life jar, and what's going into that capacity and energy in that, what's going in there first, and what's being left and falling out of the jar there, and just challenge you with that thought today. Next concept was a great principle by one of my mentors, Brian Tracy. And Brian Tracy used this principle called eat the frog. And what eat the frog was is that he challenged us to eat that frog first in your day. It's that one thing in your business or your personal life that you know is so important, but you just put it off because you don't want to eat the frog. The frog tastes bad. It makes you croak, no pun intended. And you do not want to start your day off by eating that frog. So think about the things that are so uber important, like reaching out and connecting with people. Is it eating the frog thing in real estate? Making those calls. I'm no go crazy, and I'm call reluctant as well. And I don't want to reach out and talk to people because I don't want to bug them. But the important part about it is that making those calls and reaching out, telling someone you love them, those important things, those frogs, you've got to do those things and start your day off right and do those things. So take time to think about, what are the things that are so uber important on your day, those things personally and professionally that are the frog, but you neglect them and you leave them and you put them off, and then I'll get to them the next day. I'll get to the next day. I'm going to challenge you guys to identify those things and eat those frogs and take care of those things and get them out of the way earlier in your day. Does that make sense? Because if you don't eat that frog, someone else or something else is going to fill up that day in your schedule. Would you agree? If you don't do it, something else or someone else is going to do it for you in your schedule. And how many of us have had our days just run away on us all of a sudden? You're like, man, my day's done. And I didn't get anything done that I thought I was going to be needing to get done, and I didn't get any of those items that were important to done as well. So there's a principle there about eating that frog, and eating that frog early in your day. Okay? Next principle. This is a book called The Kaizen Way. Great book about talking about the auto industry. And the auto industry has the same parallel to our own business world in our own lives. The importance of systems, the importance of checklists, the importance of processes, the importance of efficiencies, about delegation, automation, and leverage in that. And just talking about the auto industry and that. Anybody in the room read Kaizen Way? Anybody read that book?
Nope.
No. So a great book here. And what I learned from this book is that I'm going to be honest with you guys. I couldn't organize a 5-year-old birthday party, but man, can I be the center of attention for a 5-year birthday party? Any other fellow members in the room there that are like me in that? I can be the life of the party, but I couldn't organize it if my life depended on it, right? So it wasn't my gift, but I had to understand the importance of all of these things: automation, delegation, leverage, efficiencies, process, and checklist. So I found other people, right? And they're Anna, God bless you, Annabelle in the room there, God bless you, right? That revel in the ability to be able to organize and systemize and automate and process and that. So I realized early in my career that I needed executive assistants. I'm so out of control that I have 2 Annabelles in my life, right, guys? And that, so there's 2 people that need to organize my life and to clean up the messes in behind. But that's not my gift, and I realized I wasn't going to wake up one day and realize that I was going to do this naturally, but I realized I woke up and understood the importance of it. Would everybody agree that the massive importance of systems and checklists and processes and automation and delegation systemization? Everybody see the importance of that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I challenge you guys is that to learn how to delegate, automate, systemize, find those people, find that help and leverage those that are amazingly gifted and talented in that, right? And so I know the importance of them and I get them in place in that, but I have people, I'm a starter, not a finisher. Anybody else like that in the room there that's a starter, not a finisher? Right. So yeah, people are chuckling, so I know they're in the room. So I revel in the ability to have people like Kelly and Rami and Annabelle in our lives to get things done, to finish those things and get them done. Okay. Any questions about the jar and the sieve and cubby concept? Any questions about eating that frog, or any questions about the Kaizen way and the process there and how the efficiencies and the following the checklist? The importance of the checklist, it's you're consistent, you're delivering what you said you're going to do. There's just so many benefits to having that process and that consistency in that process and then finding people and finding programs or companies or systems that can do that for you. Any other questions or comments right now? Or are we good?
Good.
Awesome. Next principle, next concept was get up an hour earlier every day. So I don't know if you know this, but if you do the math, that's 364 hours back in your life a year if you got up 1 hour earlier. That is another 15.16 days a year more and that. So I am not a morning person. I don't get better until after about 11 a.m., right? And that, but I understood the importance of this, that there's enough rest, and getting rest is important. But if you got up, anybody read Robin Sharma's new book, The 5 a.m. Club? I'm not part of the 5 a.m. Club, but I'm a 6 a.m. clubber, right? But not a 5 a.m. But the 5 a.m. clubber is just, you find that most people that get more things done get up earlier and wake up earlier, and they just get things done in that because they're adding another hour a day. So they're adding another 360. What would 364 hours a year do for you? What would 15 more days a year do for you by just getting up 1 hour early? So don't underestimate the importance of considering being that 5 a.m. club, that 6 a.m. club, that 7 a.m. club. I'm not going to lie to you. Most agents in my office, they would be part of the 10 a.m. club. They roll in the office at 11. I'm like, wow, right? Half the day's already gone for most of those 5 a.m. clubbers. Their day's done and finished completing that. Not being judgmental. I'm just saying, challenging yourself to think about the opportunity of how much time more you'd have and what you could get done if you just added 1 more hour earlier to your day, okay? And what that impact would have. Next concept is that just choices, interruptions, too many demands, and that. So the overwhelmed side of things is that your ability not to be able to manage those demands and that. So one of the biggest things for me was learning to say no. Is there anybody in the room there is a yes person like I am, the president of the Yes Club, and that you cannot say no and learn how to say no in that? And that, so one concept is understanding to learn how to say no and to learn how to decipher what's important and unimportant. And one of my mentors said to Wade is that, I need to say no at this particular point in time for me and myself. I hope you can appreciate and understand that. right? I need to say no for me. It's nothing against you or that. I just need to, and I hope you can respect me saying no at that time. That's a very difficult thing for me to be able to say, because I'm a people pleaser and I want everybody to love me, not just like me, to love me. And I had to learn a lesson the hard way, is because I just said yes too many times and completely buried myself and paralyzed myself. Okay. So that's a lesson, that's a hard lesson to learn, and then learning how to say no. Another concept is the 3D test. So I'm going to challenge you guys. The 3D test is every time you're sitting down to a new task, ask yourself, is this something that is so vitally important that it's Wade needs to do it? Do I need to do it? Is this something that Wade does? Okay. Now you got to mix in. Is this something that Annabelle does? Is this something that Jamil does? Is this something that I do? Okay. Second test is this something that's really not that important that I could delegate, and somebody else doing it 85% as good as me doing it is a better opportunity for me to delegate? Or is this something that's really not that important and something that I should just dump and move on, and it's just not important to do that? So how many people in the room need to 3D test things more? There's stuff that you're doing that someone else you could delegate, or something that's not important you could just dump, that need to 3D test more.
Yeah.
Makes sense? And that's so look at it. And so every time you're changing your activity, every time you're changing things, put in the habit of, during your day, to 3D test. 3D test yourself every hour, 3D test yourself every half day or whatever. Put in a process where you look at things and say, is this something so important that I should do? Is this something that somebody else I could delegate and someone else could do? Or is this something that's really not that important and I should just dump and move on and just practice? And if you 3D test things, how much more time would you have available, and how much more time would you be able to prioritize things if you 3D tested them more often? Okay. So we've got the wake up an hour early concept. We've got that say no. We've got that 3D testing principle, all incredibly good test skills and things, and that we can implement in our lives to give us more time to balance, to be able to manage more things, and to not feel so much overwhelmed or misplacing our priorities and items and things. Next activity is time blocking. Anybody heard of the time blocking concept in that? Jim Rohn says that you need to finish your week before it begins. So how I've done that is Sunday evenings is my time where I'm watching Sunday night football. I'm pulling up my laptop. I'm pulling up my phone. I'm looking at my calendar. I'm looking at my week ahead. And this is what my calendar looks like, guys. This is true screenshot of it. I've color-coded activities. I've color-coded things. I've put them in and scheduled them and put them in there. I'm synced with my assistant, so we share a calendar. I'm looking and seeing where we've doubled up or where we have conflicts a week in advance. I'm having it and making sure the big rocks are in there first, then the pebbles, and then wondering whether I should be even putting in the water or the sand in my schedule moving forward, right? And so you're finishing your week before you begin. If you don't take time to block, someone else or something else will put it in and fill in those blocks for you guys. And then you run out and you have no time left, and you have no space left, and you have no balance left. I actually put in 30-minute windows of wade times to go for a walk around the complex around my office. So there's 30 minutes in the morning and there's 30 minutes in the afternoon on every one of my scheduled days for me to be able to have to breathe time, to reload time, to replenish time. And that helps me manage my energy levels during the day and not become so worn out and so burned out and just going hard all day long for 10, 12-hour days. Okay. So time blocking, we've heard it in that, but having that ability to have that discipline and putting those time blocks into play. Okay. So there's another principle that I think, yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
Wade, what time do you come to the office typically? What time do you leave?
Yeah, great question. So I am a 7 a.m. guy, between 7 and 8 a.m. guy in and that. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have my personal trainer. So I'm actually out of the office by 4 p.m. because I train from 4 to 5. But normally I'd be out of the office by 5:30, 6 o'clock. I've made a commitment to my family that I'm at my home at dinner with my family at 6 p.m. every single night. And it's non-negotiable, 6 p.m. family dinner, sitting with our family with the devices off. And I've made a negotiation that I'm with my trainer Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. And I'm in the office before everybody else. And that I love being in the office before everybody else because you can get so much done before everybody comes in and got a minute, or the chitter chatter or all the gossip starts, or all that other stuff that's completely ineffective time in that. You get in before everybody else and you get so much. I get more done from 7 a.m. to 8:39 than any other time during the day. 100%, 100%. And that, so, and same on the sales side of things. Like, I just blocked out times where they were non-negotiable times. My 30-minute me time in the morning and afternoon, non-negotiable. My training times, non-negotiable. My date nights with my kids and my wife, dinner at 6, non-negotiable. And so when someone calls me with this formula, I say to them, I have a commitment at that time. I don't tell them it's my golf date or my trainer time and that. I just say I've got a client and a commitment at that time, and then I'll ask them if this time or this time, and they will pick it. Just so you know, they will pick it. And if you are always saying I'm available all the time, you're actually counterintuitive. You're actually sending a message that I'm not successful, I'm not good at what I do, because I can put you into my slot on my calendar at any time. You're actually sending a message that you can always fit people in because you're not that busy and not that successful. So think about what that message is sending you, right? When you're always readily available. And people that are really successful and really good at what they do, are they easily able to get in and schedule on that? Yes or no?
No, I'm not if you're successful.
Right, exactly. And so you can't get into, if you need knee surgery, you're months for the best knee surgeons, right? Any professional, any expert at something that's really good at something, it's days, weeks, and months. And that, now, I'm not saying that I'm making people wait days, weeks, and months, but I am making people choose when I have gaps in my schedule and not letting them dictate my schedule. I'm dictating my schedule and in control of my time. That was a hard lesson I had to learn because I didn't do that in the outset of my scheduling and that. Now I'm very, very intentional and very, very regimented with when I block and when I offer and when I offer times and that. And to be perfectly honest, it's not being that I don't want to. They're talking to Kelly or Remy to make appointments with me because they know that I'm so incredibly busy and successful and my time's valuable that they'll make an appointment to get in with me in that. And that's not because I'm being a snob. It's just because I'm putting mechanisms in place to be able to control that schedule and control that time. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, next concept, real-time voice messaging. So this is an example of it. You can call the cell phone and it says, thank you for calling the confidential voicemail of Wade Webb. I'm currently out of the office serving a client right now due to high workload. I'm currently responding to voicemails at 12 noon or 4 p.m. Leave your name, number, and message. I'll get back to you. And if you refer to me, please leave your name and the person who referred to you because I can thank them immediately for the endorsement. Thanks again and have a great day. Okay? So if you knew that I was calling you back at 12 or 11 or at 3 or 4 and that, do you feel like you've been responded to? And then another message I'll add on there, if it's urgent or time sensitive, then they can just contact Remy or Kelly at this number, okay? Now, do you feel like you've been served and been responded to immediately, knowing that I am busy, that I appreciate the call, and that I'm going to be checking at this time and this time, and you can contact my assistant or have me paged at this number if it's urgent and time sensitive? Does anybody in the room feel like they have not been served by receiving that kind of a message and attention that they can get a hold of me? Yes or no?
Only if they listen to the voicemail, and most people don't have the patience.
Yeah, and I agree, Ramesh. So to squeeze this down, hey, it's Wade, condensed version, and being the ADD squirrel, there's a squirrel moment. I agree with you. To condense it down is a smarter play for sure. For sure. Hey, it's Wade. Incredibly tied up with someone else right now. I'm serving someone else. Call you back at 11 or call you back at 3. If you need to get a hold of me quicker, call Kelly, my assistant, at this number. Have a good day. There's the condensed version for the ADD guy, right, Ramesh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, you can do the exact same thing on text. So you save the text message and you can copy, paste, send on texting. If anybody, and here's an invention to an opportunity, no one's created automated response texting. Isn't that crazy? It hasn't been created. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if anybody wants to retire and tell me thank you after this call and after this webinar for just making you a billionaire, right? It hasn't been created. There's nothing there for auto text response, which is insane. But auto email response is in there. So imagine you can take the same auto email response and put it in there and add this message in there and condense it down for those people that don't read and don't listen when they find your voicemail and see your emails, right? So you
Yeah.
can dummy those messages down on your phone, and you can dummy down those messages on your email, and you can put a dummy down message in your phone to copy, paste, send text to respond to it as well. Okay?
Yep.
Now imagine what kind of not responding to your page or your phone, your emails and that constantly all the time, how would that make you feel? Would you be able to be more attentive and present? Could you be, less panicked and responding and squirrel and distracted, right? Like it buys you back so much time, so much perspective, so much insight and clarity in that. It's a life changer. That, and I challenge you. There's some of you in the room right now or on this call. They're thinking this is a stupid idea. I can't do this. I gotta say jump when someone. I gotta say how high when someone says jump. That's the furthest thing from the truth, coming from a guy that was completely imploding in 2004. That's a false theory and myth that you cannot let be true in your life. Okay, I'm just telling you from my own personal experience. Okay, so I challenge you: real-time voice message, real-time texting, real-time voice email response, and that. Change your life, change your world. Okay, try it. Let me know how you make out. Now, next concept. I love this concept. This is from Disney Imagineering. I love Disney. I'm a Disney fan, junkie, and that Marvel, the Star Wars series, anything Disney. I'm a massive, massive Disney fan. This is a concept that they use at Disney Imagineering when they throw up all their movie and all their ideas up on walls. So they have whiteboards all over all of the Imagineering walls. Right now, you're going to kill me, boys, because I'm going to tell people to white wall paint their office walls and put this up on the wall or put it up on a whiteboard. Okay, there's actually whiteboard paint that you can paint whiteboard walls and put it up there. But imagine if you put a do column, a doing column, and a done column up on a whiteboard or up on a board on your wall or up on your wall, and the visual progress and the visual momentum of getting things done, and then the constant reminder of it's poking you in the forehead because it's sitting up there, and it's constantly reminding you, I got to get it done, I got to get it done. There's the frog, there's the frog, there's the frog. All right, so this concept of having it visually out there and having a do column, a doing column, and a done column, you'll be amazed at the progress you get to see, how you feel like you get a pat on your back because you're moving from one column to the next and you're getting things done. And I'm a huge believer of implementation and execution, right? Because ideas are nothing with it unless they're implemented and executing, getting stuff done. Now, that said, this is where you should put leads up on your board, buyer lead, seller boards. You should put closings up on your board, transactions up on your board, putting all these different things on there that are so uber important in your life, personally and professional, and having them up on there so that they're visual, constant reminders of what's important in that. Now, you've got to also prioritize these activities. That makes sense? What's the big rocks? What's the pebbles? What's the sand? What's the water, right? And prioritize those things in that and put it up there. Anybody on the call already have a visual board like that and have it a do, doing, and done, leads, sales, closings, removals, things like that on there that they're visually reminding themselves of all the times?
No.
Okay. So this is game changer for so many of my coaching clients is visually put. I have some of my coaching clients that have literally whiteboard painted a whole entire wall and thrown it up there. Now, there is some of my coaching clients that have actually know how well they're doing, and they actually limit their productivity by putting this stuff up, because if they know if they got so many things up on the wall, they know they're making enough money. So some of my coaching clients, I've told them to take it all down, and because they need to break through that next level and do more, because they're just doing enough, believe it or not. So it can be counterproductive and productive depending on the personality and depending on the persons that you're using there. So challenge you to create that concept, that visual concept of a do, doing, and done, your leads, your sales, your all of your different things in that you can put up there to track and measure and see how you're doing in that. We all need a pat on the back. We all need to see progress and momentum to reassure ourselves that this is good. This is great. For me, I've been really working on my physical health and that, and I get off and get out of the shower and jump on the scale every Tuesday morning. That's my visual progress and momentum to say, hey, good for you, Wade, for not eating that extra Big Mac this week, right? And that, like, I don't just I treat myself once in a while, but it's the reality is that you got to get off the treating yourself once in a while, and you got to get back on track on that. So, but I look at it and go, I had that extra Big Mac this week, but I didn't go up on my weight. Good job, Wade, like that. But the reality is I get back on it and get back dialed in right away and that, and get back on that scale and that. So, I'm not going to tell you that I'm some freak superhuman. Guys, I go through the drive-through just like anybody human else, and that. Who doesn't want a bacon double cheeseburger once in a while in their life, right? Like, come on. It's like, makes my heart smile. It also makes my heart stop, but it makes my heart smile too. All right, so the say no technique, again, taking control and just learning how to say no. It's so important. Another great concept I learned from Gary Keller, and that is just choosing to do one thing at a time. And what is that one thing, and only doing that one thing and getting it done and getting it with excellence. So one concept is the one thing concept is that, you look at it and you create one lead gen thing and you do it with excellence, and then you pick another one and then do it with excellence, and then another thing. And does everybody understand the importance of just focusing on one thing and doing it with excellence at a time? Does that make sense? Because multitasking and doing multiple things, you're doing so many things half-assed and so bad in that it's not working for you, and multitasking is actually self-destructive and counterintuitive and counterproductive, right? So think about that one thing and focusing on that one thing. And for you and I in the room that, you only can focus on it for 20 minutes, that's okay. Until the squirrel shows up and distracts you, you just pick that one thing and you do it with excellence for 20 minutes. It's all good. Okay. It's all good. Don't beat yourself up about it. I get it. Squirrel. Right. I get it. All right. Now, energy management for time management. This is a great book. Tony Schwartz's book, The Power of Full Engagement. There's secret to success, you folks here in this call today, if anything, is it's energy management. It's not time management. If you do not have your health, if you do not have the energy, if you don't have the ability to show up and to get at things and knock it out of the park, and that, it doesn't matter how much time you have, right? You just need your health, you need your energy, you need all that stuff to get more done. So elite athletes, elite human beings work on their energy management before they work on their time management. So consider the concept of energy management versus time management and think about what that impact would have on your day if you could just keep going and going all the time. People are like, Wade, like, you're just rolling on this call. It's energy management, right? It's not time management. It's that I'm able to exert high levels of energy by things that I'm doing to maintain my energy and manage that energy. Okay. Last concept, The Fanatical Prospecting, another great book by Jeb Blunt, and it's a cinch by an inch and it's hard by a yard. And he talks about your hour of power. And I'm just going to talk about your hour of power in real estate, in that there's people on this call, including me, that couldn't last an hour if their life depended on it. We are too ADD and distracted. So I'm going to tell you guys on the call, divide it into 3 or 6 separate 20-minute sessions a day or 10-minute sessions a day. So focused, effective, productive time. You're eliminating those excuses of not finding 10 or 20 minutes a day now. You're eliminating the ability that after 10 or 20 minutes, you're distracted and you're really not being effective. And you're now checking your email. You're now looking at your phone and you're distracted. Imagine the concept of 6 10-minute sessions a day of focused, intense prospecting lead gen, or 3 20-minute sessions. Would you all agree in the room that you could all put in 6 10s or 3 20s a day?
Yeah.
And no excuse for not being able to do that. But putting in an hour or 2 a day consecutively and doing it without being distracted and being able to focus on that's not possible for a number of us. Maybe a few of us, but a number of us, that's not the case. So I'm going to challenge you. Think about the fanatical prospecting concept of 6 10-minute hard sessions a day or 3 20-minute sessions a day. There's really no reason for excuse for not being able to find 6 10s or 3 20s, right, guys? Really no excuse. The last one, Gary V, implementation, execution, get stuff done, right? Ideas are nothing if you don't get stuff done. Don't be paralyzed, analysis paralysis. Don't be overwhelmed, not knowing where to get things done. Pick one thing, work on it for 10, work on it for 20, implement, execute, leverage, get help, all of these concepts and that. So quickly, just in the room there, best concept, best thought for you guys, best nugget for you today, and the concepts that I shared with you guys, if you don't mind.
Probably the prospecting, Wade.
Yeah, the fanatical prospecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 10 session,
Yeah.
the 10 minute sessions, or the 3 20-minute sessions. Absolutely. I love that. I love that
Love
concept.
Eat the Frog. Love Eat the Frog. Just get it done.
Yeah.
If something on your shoulder, just get it done.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
that way you can move on, because otherwise you're just gonna think about it the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's just going to weigh on you, man. It's going to be like that frog's croaking in the back of your head all day long. All day long.
So Ramen says the jar.
The
Ramen
jar?
likes the jar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pick them, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, look at the jar, look at that frog, right? Look at the concepts of that. So my challenge to you guys is to pick one of these concepts, implement it, execute it. Once you've built it as a habit and it's just part of who you are, then challenge you to choose the next one, right? And go with that. So thanks for your time, you guys. I hope you found a nugget or two today in
Thanks,
session.
Wade.
Yeah, appreciate it. You guys take care. All the best. Bless you guys. Okay, have a good week. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye
Bye.
for now.
So let's do Eat the Frog.